The only place we could go to was Capri, and we were escorted there by a film star called Douglas Fairbanks Jr. on his destroyer. The view from the Albergo Lido on the island of Ischia was marvellous, and when Mount Vesuvius erupted, it was like bonfire night on a gigantic scale. Just before Christmas, Benny and I took the mailbag from Ischia 20 miles across to Naples. Coming back, the Italians refused to sail because of a storm, and we got a lift on an old, smelly Vino boat. On this occasion, Benny was sick in his hat, in his cap, and he threw it into the sea. A few days after Vesuvius erupted, we went over to Naples again, drove down to look around Pompeii, and we saw smoke coming from one of the streets nearby, and we found the lava flow coming from the Vesuvius down the street. And as an experiment, we tried to do some toast there, but the stick and the toast caught fire. Casino was something like World War I. We were stuck there, surrounded by mud, with shells going in both directions for several weeks, and it was really murder there, cold, wet and miserable. Benny and I had a bit of spare time south of Rome. We borrowed one of our trucks and drove into Rome to see the sights, the Colosseum, etc., and we ended up in St. Peter's. We went onto the roof at St. Peter's, couldn't find a way down, and we ended up walking around the Vatican completely lost. Went into a room where a gentleman was reading one of his books, spoke to him, and he told us he was the Pope, Pope Pius XII. He blessed us both, we returned back to our unit, and nobody believed us. We moved north from Rome to try and catch up with the Germans, but they were retreating so quickly. We got up to Grosseto, almost to the Tower of Pisa. There we were given orders to turn back again to drive to Naples. At Civitavecchia, we stopped by the beach there and traded some of our booze, whiskey, rum and gin for a food supply. We had enough food to last us for 6 months in France. The landing at Saint-Tropez was really grim. The blobs in the picture are the parachutes of drowned paratroopers that were dropped in the sea. We had sniper fire all the time from the town. This is where Lofty came unstuck. We settled our radar in operations on the top of a hill just outside the harbour. 2 Fokker-Wulf 190s came and dive bombed our unit, and I got blown up and injured and was taken to a hospital in southern France. When I recovered after a few days in the hospital, I had to hitchhike across southern France. I hitchhiked about 500 miles, and the first night I did a B&B in an American Labour division, and the CO was most obliging, and they were all very, very friendly and took care of me really well. When we were in southern France, we were driving from Fréjus and Saint-Raphael to Toulon for diesel oil and petrol. The driver wanted to clean the tyres of his truck. He drove onto the beach, did a U-turn and drove over a landmine. The front wheel was blown off, and we couldn't proceed with only 3 wheels. Just west of Marseille, there's a large cliff area near to Martigues, and we had a very good radar sight on the top of a cliff there where all the rocks were blue on an old German gun emplacement. I got posted from southern France to Malta after an argument with the commanding officer. I was posted from Toulon to Malta, where I joined an MU. So I moved from cool France to red hot Malta. The airfield in Malta where we worked was Sicliy, and it was combined with Lucca. And Lucca airfield now is the main airfield in Malta. I was there for a year, servicing and looking after aircraft going off to Japan. A typical picture of an air-sea rescue in the Mediterranean. The walrus found the poor bloke in his raft or the float in the sea, and he signalled to an air-sea rescue launch, which went along as quickly as it could to pick up the poor sailor, the poor airman. We used to go swimming in Califrana Bay until we found that great white sharks and other sharks were swimming around as well, being fed from some of the naval vessels. Flight Sergeant Vic Wheeler, standing at the back, was on a boat with me, and we rowed along from the harbour at Capri to the Blue Grotto. The toilet block we moved around on the same camp at Malazzo through a vineyard, so we could go to the toilet and pick grapes off the vines, and every time we'd eaten all the grapes we moved the toilet block. In Malazzo, a photographer from the town came and took a photograph of all our unit. With the minimum of clothes, it was very, very hot. We had the CO in the middle and one officer on the left hand side, and I'm standing in the middle of the back row. After a few words with the commanding officer regarding the maintenance of diesels, I was posted from 15051 to AMES 871 that had come up from Anzio. I was very happy there, and I became a good friend of the commanding officer. This picture was taken in Ischia with visiting American radar personnel. My friend, I was on bottom left. My pal Jack Vaughan was next to me. The rest of them were Americans that were visiting us, seeing how we operated our radar.